Now, after understanding the concept of functions, we are going to understand the cell references in Excel. So let's first understand what are cell references. So the cell address that we use in the formula is known as the cell reference. That means here I'm writing an example that suppose you need to saying that A1, where A denotes the column name and 1 denotes the row number. So this is the cell address. So we are having three types of cell references. The first is the relative, which is the by default. The second is the absolute, and the third is the mixed reference. So let's discuss one by one. So first we are having the relative reference. In relative reference, row and column are not fixed. That means if you copy the formula from one cell to other cell, the cell address will automatically change. So in this figure, you can see we write formula in A4, that is the A1 plus A2. If we copy this formula and paste into B4 cell, the cell address will change automatically and it will show like B4 equal to B1 plus B2. So this is the case with relative reference. I'll show you with an example also after discussion. You will see the practical part. Second, we are having the absolute reference, which is used when we do not change the address of the cell while copying the formula to another cell. For using the absolute reference, you need to add a dollar sign before the column and the row number, like this way, $B and $2. So this way you need to add dollar sign for absolute reference. Next, last in this category, we are having the mixed reference, and as the name suggests, it is a combination of relative and absolute reference. In this type of reference, either row or column has to remain fixed. So here B is the relative and $2 is the absolute reference. B is column and 2 is the row number. So I'll show you with an example these all three. Now let's look at an example of using relative references in a formula. For example, we need to enter the formula, like here I'm having some data that is 1 to 10 values, and here I want to write a relative formula for adding two values like this, plus I just want this, and I'm getting the answer, that is 4 is the result. So now if you copy this formula from here and just paste over another cell, then you will see here is the formula, that is the A1 plus A3. References are A1 plus A3. As I copied the same formula over here, but when you check the formula, you can see the whole values, the two values have been changed. The reference is totally changed for the values. So this is the example of relative address. This is, in previous case, this is the A1 and A3, but in this case, it is just forward to further values, that is 4 and 6. So this is the example of relative term, relative references. Now for absolute, what you need to write? You need to use the dollar sign and the value, that is A1, also write dollar over here, plus dollar A $3, and just press enter. So this is also selecting these two values, that is 1 and 3, okay, and giving the same result, that is 4. Now when you copy this value and paste somewhere, so you can see the result is same. That means in the case of absolute, the reference will be the same. It will not change the reference of cells. So by writing the dollar symbol, okay. So this is the example of absolute. Now the last is the mixed reference. So for that I just need to write Suppose the A1 cell, and second I'm giving the A3. For this I have to write one cell with relative and one cell with absolute. So that is an example of mixed reference. Just press enter, and when you click or copy this formula and paste somewhere, you will check the result. So what I get, see here I am using A1 as a relative reference and A3 as a absolute reference. So in this case, what will happen? See, when I go over there, the absolute reference will not change, whereas the relative reference will change. So this is the example of mixed reference.